तमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम आलयम करुणालयम नमामि भगवत्पाद शंकरं लोक शंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्र भाष्य कृतौ वंदे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः. So we are, today happens to be Friday, and we are doing Upadesha Sahasri. It happens to be dream and memory, and 29th verse. We have to begin. We have just begun. We have to do it completely. Ahamitya Atmadhihi. Atmadhihi means I am the body. Atmadhihi means I am the body. Ahamiti Atmadhihi yacha. What is the Atmadhihi means I am this body, etc. Mama iti Atmiyadhihi rapi. And this is mine. This is me, and this is mine. In this manner, Artha Shunya, they have no meaning at all. Because you cannot be, you are unlimited, you are free from space, you are free from time, and you are saying yourself, water is all over the ocean, and it says, I am only a wave. That is a wrong thing. It has no meaning at all. The unlimited feeling that I am limited, it has no meaning, Yada yasyata, and when this is mine also has no meaning at all. This is me has no meaning, this is mine has no meaning. Iti, yes, for whom it looks like that. Artha shunya yada yasya sa atmagnya bhavet tada. And a person who understands that these have no meaning, he can become atmagnya. The I am the body has no meaning, and this is mine has also no meaning. The one who understands, he can become atmagnya. Meaning what? The error, self-error, that I am the body is an error, is a mistake. And this is mine also is a mistake. Because of this, when this mistake is, unless a person understands that this is a mistake, how can he correct it? And therefore, it is said, a person who shunya means that they are a mistake. That I am the body is a mistake, is an error. And that I am this is mine also is an error. And the one who understands that it is an error can go for correction of the error. And therefore, there is no other way for liberation. Buddhyadau sati upadhau. And also, buddhyadau, when the buddhi, etc. are there, when thought is there as a conditioning for you, when the body is a conditioning, buddhyadi means, buddhyadau means, etc., buddhi, etc., thought, etc. Thought, the senses, the mind, the intellect. Thought itself means mind, intellect also means the thought only. Thoughts, the breath, the senses, the body, all of them, when they are there as a conditioning for the self, artha shunya, buddhyadau sati upadhau. Upadhau means when they are the upadhis. When the thought is an upadhi, when the body is an upadhi, when the breath is an upadhi, whatever you take yourself to be, that is called upadhi. Whatever you take yourself to be is called upadhi. That upadhi, whenever it has, buddhyadau sati upadhau cha, tada asati aviseshata. When there is no difference between, there is a difference. And between before jnanam and after jnanam, there is a difference in the thought, in the breath, etc. That there, I am the thought, I am the breath, I am the senses, I am the body. In this manner, this is the situation before the knowledge. And after the knowledge, thought is there, but I am not the thought. Breath is there, but I am not the breath. The body is there, but I am not the body. The senses are there, but I am not the senses. In this manner, there is a difference between before and now. And therefore for him, yes ched atmanah jnata. And such a person, when a person he understands the Atma, when yes ched atmanah jnata, when there is a difference between before and now, and such a person, when he understands the truth, tasya karyam na vidyate. For him, what work is there? Tasya karyam katham bhavet. How can there be anything to be accomplished for him? There is nothing more to be accomplished. To understand that this thing, before it was different, now it is different. They are there, but I'm not conditioned by them. Before they were also there, but I was conditioned by them. They were all their upadhis. They were all my upadhis. But now they are not my upadhis. In this manner, he understands. And when he understands, how can there be? That means he is a liberated person. How can there be any karya? Karya means the motion is only, change is only in the thought. Change is not in consciousness, please. Motion is only in thought. Motion is not in consciousness. And that much, it is akarta. It is abhota. It is akarta means, like space is akarta. The air is mobile. The fire is mobile. The water is mobile. The earth is mobile. But the space is not mobile. The space has no boundaries. Anything that has no boundaries, it is sthira. It is immobile. And therefore, the space has no mobility. Anything that is there in space has mobility. It has, because it has boundaries. The body has boundaries. It has a beginning, it has an end, and therefore it is mobile. Anything that has a beginning and an end in its expanse, it is mobile. The body is mobile, the thought is mobile, the breath is mobile, everything is mobile, but the consciousness is not mobile. It is akarta. And therefore, what is akarta cannot, what is akarta? Understanding the akartrutvam of yourself is the greatest accomplishment. Akarta Atma doesn't do anything. Akarta Atma is still. It is not in the body still in sleep, but it has been mobile. But it has been, having been mobile, it becomes immobile. That is a different thing. But it is always immobile by nature. That is its nature. This consciousness, the nature of consciousness is that it is always immobile. It has no boundaries, and therefore it is akarta. And kartrutvam is felt due to identification with the thought, the mobile. Identification with the mobile makes you feel mobile. But the non-identification, by nature, you are immobile. And therefore motionlessness is your nature. And therefore akartrutvam is your nature. And therefore, for the akarta, understanding the akarta as akarta is the greatest achievement. And you don't have to achieve anything. You have to only recognize that you are only akarta. You have to only recognize that you are akarta. You are not a karta, you are akarta. That is your nature. Just as the heat is the nature of the fire, that is your nature. You don't have to accomplish it. You have to recognize it. You don't have to create it. You have to recognize it. You don't have to reach it. You have to recognize it. You don't have to modify it. You have to recognize it. Recognition is different from reaching it and modifying it, changing it, creating it, etc., etc., purifying it. You don't have to do anything, any action. Recognize. And that recognition also doesn't qualify the truth. Recognition only corrects the non-recognition. It removes the non-recognition, but it doesn't qualify the truth. It doesn't become a part of the truth. Recognition is not a part of the truth. It only removes the non-recognition. And that is enough, Ji. The non-recognition is gone, is gone. And for a person who recognizes, for him, there is nothing more, nothing greater to be accomplished. Tasya karyam katham bhavet. For him, what is to be done is not there. You can't mandate any duty for him. You can't mandate any duty for him. And therefore mandates are there necessary for a karta, for a jiva, for Paramatma. Paramatma is the nature. Jiva's nature is that he is Paramatma. And as Paramatma, he has nothing more to accomplish. To recognize that I am Paramatma is the nature. He is the greatest accomplishment. And when he is a Jiva, he is a Jiva. As a Jiva, he may he may have a lot of things. He can be given mandates. As a Jiva, he is following the mandates. But when he is not a Jiva, if he is Paramatma, then he has no mandate. Tasya karyam katham bhavet. How can there be any mandate for him? How can there be any duty for him? How can there be any accomplishment for him? Recognizing the akarta as akarta, that the consciousness has no boundaries. If you see the boundaries also are fall within consciousness. If you imagine boundaries, that imagined boundaries also are within consciousness. And consciousness doesn't have boundaries. And therefore, if you say the waking state has boundaries, that waking state falls within your awareness. The dream state also falls in your awareness. In the deep sleep state also falls within your awareness. And therefore, after waking up, from the waking point of view, all the three states fall within the awareness. That awareness has no boundaries, and therefore it is, because it has no boundaries. It is something that is motionless. It is firm. It is motionless. It is akarta. Just as the space has no boundaries, therefore it is akarta. Whatever is there in the space, it is made of space. The air is made of space. The immediate material cause for the air is the space. The fire, the water, the wave, the water, and the earth. All of them are made of, the immediate material cause is the space. But the space itself is motionless. Everything that is there in space has a motion, has a change, it has kartrutvam. It has motion. It has motion. The air moves, the fire moves, the fire is mobile, the water is mobile, the earth is mobile, but the space is not mobile. In that manner, this consciousness also is not mobile because it has no boundaries. Just as in the waking state, the space has no boundaries, and therefore it is akarta, it is still, it has been still, it is timeless, and therefore it is present in the. It is not that it has been moving, it has been have motion, it has been in motion, but now it is still. It is always still. It is always still, and therefore that is its nature. Anything that has no boundaries, it is still, and therefore, in the same manner, consciousness is also has no boundaries, and therefore it is changeless. It is motionless, and therefore buddhyado satyupadao cha, that is over. Tasya karyam katham bhavet. And therefore, and also another thing, people say, so there is a difference between before knowledge and after knowledge. Before knowledge, the body is an upadhi, body is there, senses are there, mind is there, intellect is there. But after knowledge also, all of them are there. But then there is a difference. There is a difference. What is the difference? The difference is that they are not upadhis. You are separate from them. You have understood that. And therefore, having understood that, you have no karyam, you have no greater accomplishment than that. That you are different from all the upadhis makes you a difference. But still, you have to follow the disciplines because you are a part of the society. As a part of the society, you can't, even though understand that there's no mandates to follow, but yet you follow the mandates. You follow the vidhi pratishedhas. Do's and don'ts you always follow. And therefore, that is natural for you because you are a happy person. Happily, you follow the mandates. Happily, you avoid the non-mandates. And therefore, what is mandated to be done, the do's and don'ts, you always follow. The do's and don'ts Do's are observed, don'ts are also observed. They are avoided. Don'ts are also avoided. In this manner, but the youngsters feel, they say that what is there? If there are no mandates, then anything you can do. No, no, not anything. The values have to be followed in a society. The values have to be followed whether he is a jnani or ajnani. Jnaninaha ajnaninaha viyada jagad asti. The universe is there, the society is there. For a jnani, the society is there, he is a part of the society. Ajnani also is a part of the society. And therefore, even after jnanam, he has values. He cannot, it may be natural for him to follow, it may be easier for him to follow the values, but then he has to follow the values. He has to follow the values. He does follow the values. And therefore, for a youngster, he may think that he has no do's and don'ts, and therefore anything he can do. And then that's not true. He can't do anything. He has to do only the accepted values. He follows the accepted values. He avoids the accepted pratishedas. The don'ts also he avoids. And therefore, it may be natural for a jnani to follow the values. But what is natural for him? An ajnani has to do with some effort. And with effort, you follow the values. Yes. A jnani has to follow the values, and ajnani also has to follow the values. And that is why Bhagavan says, for a jnani also, everything is the same. Everything, the truth arrives. The truth abides in everything. For a jnani can't say that it abides only in me. The truth abides in everyone. And therefore, everyone has the same need. And therefore, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmane Kavyastini, Shunichaiva Swapakecha. Even in a dog and a dog eta, he sees the Pandita Samadarshinaha. The Pandita is one who has equal vision. That is what Krishna himself says. And therefore, all values are meant for everybody. All values are meant for jnani or ajnani. And therefore, an ajnani cannot say that I am a jnani and therefore I can do whatever I want. You can't do. In a society, you have to follow the values. You may be a jnani, but you have to follow the values. And therefore, prasanne vimale vyumne. Prasanne vimale means in a peaceful space. Space has no boundaries, it is a still space. That still space is given as a simile to still consciousness. In the space of consciousness, the still space of consciousness, in the peaceful space, prajnana ekarase. Prajnana means in awareness. In the still space of awareness, prajnana ekarase advaya, in the non-dual awareness, in the still space of non-dual awareness. Advaya means in the non-dual awareness. What is awareness is non-dual because it has no boundaries. It has no boundaries. Even when there is nothing, it has no boundaries. It can never be non-existent. Consciousness can never be non-existent, please. Even in Sushupti is in consciousness. The absence is in consciousness. Every thought is in consciousness. Every object is in the form of thought only. And that every thought is in consciousness. It is made of consciousness and it is within consciousness. And therefore, prasanne vyomni, prasanne vimale means the pure, vyomni means space, prajnana ekarase advaye, utpanna atmadhiyaha, a person who has understood that prajnana ekarasam, the non-dual awareness is the truth. Non-dual awareness, that awareness, a person is only solely not that awareness. He is not a combination of both body and awareness. That is what he thinks. That is not the truth. He is solely awareness because the body is given instructions by the awareness, and that instructions the body follows, and therefore the body is inert. The body is inert, and therefore it has a machine. And the one who operates the machine is consciousness, that awareness. And therefore, that awareness is solely, a person is solely that awareness. Therefore, prasanne vimale vimini prajnanaikarase advaye utpanna atmadeha, a person who has understood the truth, that that awareness is oneself. Atmadeha, bruta. Bruta means please tell. Kim anyat karyamishyate. What is there a greater accomplishment than this? Tasya, for him, kim anyat karyamishyate. How can there be a desire in him to accomplish anything? Because he has accomplished the greatest. That the greatest is indeed recognizing himself, recognizing that he is, recognizing the solely awareness. He is not the physical. He is not the physical form. He is not a thought also. Thought also is a creation out of awareness. Body is a creation out of awareness. The whole universe is a creation out of awareness. That awareness as me. That awareness is me. In this manner, the one who understands, for him, there is no greater accomplishment than this. And therefore, here it is said, Kim anyat karyamishyate. What greater achievement is there for him? There is no greater achievement than recognizing one's own being. And therefore, that I am solely a consciousness, that I am solely awareness. This is not I am only aware. I am solely awareness. I am only awareness. I am not a combination of many things. I am not a body also. The body also, that I am different from the body. This has to be understood, Ji. I am different from Bruta. Bruta means please tell. Kim anyat karyamishyate. What more is there to accomplish for him? There is nothing more to be accomplished for him. Why? Because he has accomplished the greatest. What is it? To understand that I am solely awareness, I am pure awareness, I am non-dual awareness. Because if you are solely awareness, that awareness as different from the body, you are as identified with only one given form, you cannot be the truth of all forms. As free from that one form, you are the truth of all forms. That is the tricky. Identified with a given form, you cannot be the truth of all forms. As an individual, you cannot be the truth of all forms. As identified with a given form, you cannot be a truth of all forms. Like if you have four sons, if you take stands in favor of one son, the other sons will be gone. If you cannot be you cannot be partial. As a mother, you have to be impartial. For impartial presence, for impartial favor, you should not identify with any person. Not to be identified with any person makes you a wise person. And therefore, utpanna dhiya bruta kimanyat karyamishyate. For him, there is nothing more to be accomplished. Atmanam sarvabhutastam. Atma is indeed, when the Atma is not identified with a given form, it is not that it has to be identified with all forms. It is the truth of all forms. Freedom from identification with a given form is freedom from, because except the form, there is nothing more to give limitation to the self. The awareness cannot be limited without being identified with a given form. A given form is limited, and therefore identified with that limited form, one thinks that one is a limited form, one is limited. And that if you are different from the form, then that means you are different from the limitation. As different from the limitation, you are unlimited, please. And therefore, this is what is to be understood. Atmanam sarvabhutastham. Bhutastham. Yeah, the person is, the self is in everything. The self is, that is why we will say the Virat. The you, you are none other than the Virat. As the Virat has presence in every body, in every form, the same Virat is there in every form. The same truth is there in every form. And therefore, as Virat, you are Yeah, as a waker, you are told that you are the Virat. As the dreamer, you are Hiranyagarbha. As the sleeper, you are Ishvara. You are the Jagat Karana. And therefore it is said, Atmanam Sarvabhutastam. He is there in every person. The truth is there in every form. Sarvabhutastam. The truth is the truth of the whole thing. And still Amitram cha Atmanopi yaha. And then he wants to come across uh, an enemy. How can he see an enemy? If the truth is there in every form, then in every form, the truth is there in every form. How can he come across an enemy? How can he have an enemy? And therefore, he can only be present. He is the present. He is present in every form. Atmanopi yaha pashanna pashan ityasau. I want to see my enemy. To think like this, seeing the enemy is like seeing the fire cold. You can't see the fire cold. Similarly, if the Atma is in everything, if Atma is in everything, if you are the truth of everything, then you can't have an enemy. And therefore, everything is, from Vyavahara Drishti, you can talk about the enemies, but from Swarupa Drishti, you can't say that you can have an enemy. From Swarupa Drishti is different from Vyavahara Drishti. Swarupa Drishti is from your nature point of view. As your nature is something. You are there. Your presence is there in every form, and therefore no form can be inimical to you. No person can be inimical to you. And in the same manner, if a person wants to see his enemy, it's like seeing the fire as cold. That means it's not possible. It's not possible. It is illogical to think that the self is to recognize that the self is in every form, and some form has to be my enemy. And if it is there in every form, if the water is there in every wave, no, if a wave understands that I am water, which wave is enemy to it, which wave is inimical to it? All waves are only itself. And therefore, in the same manner here also, the truth is something that is the truth is something that is not that is something the truth is something the truth is something that is the fire be seeing yourself in every form, and also having a desire to see an enemy is like trying to see the fire as cold. Seeing the fire as cold is not possible. The cold fire is not possible. Similarly, an enemy is not possible for you, because if you understand that you are the truth of the whole thing. And therefore it is said here, Atmanam Sarvabhutastam Amitram cha Atmanapi yaha Pashaniti Ichchati. He desires Pashan Ichchati. He wants to see his enemy. This desire to see an enemy for a person is like seeing the fire as cold. The fire as cold. Seeing like the fire as cold. It is like seeing the fire as cold. It's like seeing fire as cold. Shiti kartum vibhavasum. Shiti kartum means neither he can come across the fire cold, nor he can convert the hot fire into cold fire. He can put off the fire. That is a different matter. But he can't have the fire as a cold fire. Cold fire he can't have. It can't. There can be no fire. But if it is fire is there. It has to be hot. It cannot be a cold fire. And therefore, in the same manner here also, you are the truth of everything, and at the same time you have a desire to see an enemy, and that desire to see an enemy is like converting the hot fire into cold fire. That's not possible. It's not possible to come across or to create a cold fire, to transform a cold fire. To transform fire into cold is not possible. Similarly, you can't see also an enemy in this world, in this universe, because the whole universe is yourself. It is made of you. It's made of you, and therefore it is said here in the same manner. It is said here, Atmanam Sarvabhutastham. A person who thinks that he is the truth of everything, Atmanam Sarvabhutastham, Amitram cha Atmanape Yaha Pashan Nichati. And he wants to come across Pashan Nichati. Pashan means देखने के लिए इच्छा करता है. देखने के लिए इच्छा करता है means he wants to see an enemy to himself. And if he wants to see an enemy to himself, there is nothing inimical to himself. There is nothing other than himself. If there is nothing other than himself, you can't have sleep at the same time an object, a thought. Yeah, either you are not sleeping or you have no thought. But you can, when you are in deep sleep state, you can have no thought, and therefore have to be non-dual. In the same, that is your nature, and therefore when you are free from the body, you are non-dual, and therefore you are non-dual, and therefore being non-dual, you cannot have your enemy in this world. There is no enemy in this world from Swarupa Drishti, from your nature point of view. From the Vyavahara point of view, you can say he is enemy, etc., as though enemy. His thinking is different from us, our thinking, and therefore Ravana was an inimical to Rama, but Rama did not feel that he was an enemy. His thinking was a little different, and therefore his thinking was he had bad values. That is only adharma. He had adharma. That is why Bhagavan says, I come here as an avatara to correct the dharma and adharma, to correct the decline of dharma, to dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge, Bhagavan says. Only to correct the dharma, to correct the adharma, I come here. And therefore he says here. And therefore, you don't have to, as an avatara, Krishna came and spoke to Arjuna about Vedanta. Rama did not teach. Rama also taught some Vedanta to Lakshmana. That is, Sri Rama Gita is there. But then generally avatars take place. Divinity is born. A good man is there only to show, only to guide the others. If he is an avatara, then he always guides the people to show. He guides the people to the right values. Without the right values, this society cannot run. Therefore, if the society has to run, people have to follow the values. And only when the values decline, then our divinity manifests in a given form, and his thinking is right. And therefore, he corrects the decline. He corrects the decline of the adharma. He doesn't have to teach Vedanta ji, because that is not meant for avatara is not meant for Vedanta. Avatara is meant only for dharma samsthapanartha. In order to establish dharma only, to correct the adharma, the avatara takes place. But then Bhagavan Krishna spoke of Vedanta also. Rama also spoke Vedanta also. When the opportunity came, when there was a need for Vedanta, there was a person, but then his main thing was, Krishna's main thing, Rama's main thing was to show to the world his example, to show his example. And therefore, avatara is always meant for correcting the adharma. Avatara is not meant for teaching Vedanta. Avatara is meant for only showing, correcting the decline of dharma. The rise of adharma is corrected, is removed. And therefore, it is said here that avatara has to be done. Avatara comes only in order to correct the adharma, in order to correct the rise of adharma, in order to correct the rise of adharma. But Krishna is great. Rama is great. And anybody who came, the divinity comes in order to, the divinity comes only to correct the adharma, in order to teach Vedanta. But Krishna and Rama taught Vedanta also, and therefore we are doubly benefited. They talk about dharma, and they also talk about Vedanta, and therefore both are useful. Thank you very much, and then the more of it we will see in the next class. Thank you very much. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति. Thank you, Jay.
We can say if this entire realm of forms is virtual in me